What's the difference between earth, heaven, and hell? What's the difference? What's the big difference? Well, the big difference between earth and heaven and hell is the presence of God. On earth, we get some of the presence of God. In hell, there's none of the presence of God. And in heaven, there's the fullness of the presence of God. You see, heaven is God's home. It's where God is at, unrestricted, unlimited, fully manifest all the time. So that makes heaven an amazing place. We read in Revelation 21, it says, "Then I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling is with men, and he will live with them, and they will be his people, and he himself will be with them and be their God.'" Heaven is God's home. It's the dwelling place of God. Jesus said, "Pray our Father who is in heaven." When John saw a vision of heaven, he saw the Father sitting on a throne. Jesus said he came down from heaven. After he rose from the dead and walked on earth 40 days, he ascended back into heaven. Heaven is God's home. And that's what makes heaven so amazing, because everything good comes from God. Think about it. Joy, life comes from God. Jesus said, "I'm the resurrection and the life." Love comes from God. John said, "God is love." Joy comes from God. Romans 16:11 says, "In God's presence there is fullness of joy." Revelation 21:4 says, "In heaven there's no more tears, no more sorrow, no more weeping." Heaven is a place of perfect truth, not the bondage of lies. Jesus said, "I am the truth." Heaven's a place of perfect light. 1 John 1 says, "God is light." Revelation 21 says that in the New Jerusalem, you won't even need any lights. You won't need a candle. You won't need a lamp. You won't need a street light. You won't need any of that, because God will be the light. And there's so much more. Health, everybody will be in great health. There'll be plenty of food, plenty of everything. Life will be exploding in abundance. Heaven will be filled with love and joy and peace and everything good you can possibly imagine, because everything good emanates from God, and heaven is God's home. But you know what's going to make heaven especially good? We'll get to see God face to face. Revelation 22. It says, "There'll be no more curse. The throne of God and the Lamb will be in the city, and his servants will serve him, and they will see him face to face." I don't know about you, but all that other stuff's awesome, and if that's all there was to it, I would be delighted with all of that. But what I'm especially looking forward to is looking in the face of Jesus Christ, looking into his eyes. I can't imagine what that moment will be. This one who's the most amazing person you could possibly imagine, who did more for us than we can possibly understand, to look into his face. I can't wait to go to heaven because heaven is God's home.